I'm going to have Mike Henricks hold the phone and videotape me and Ron speaking in a couple minutes here.
Okay, I'm having issues on my phone. I'm trying to figure it out.
Okay, no problem. Okay, so just let Mike know I'm going to hand him the phone.
Are you broadcasting your video? Sherry? Sherry? Oh, cool. We got you.
Okay, so it's looking at Mike.
You want the vertical or you want horizontal?
Horizontal.
I got ready to go. Our personal stories are out there. They've been out there for quite a while, so we'll get right into both. Right? We are constitutional scholars. We're here to tell you that you have constitutional rights. You had full and complete constitutional rights the day before you got divorced. You have full and equal constitutional rights the day after you get divorced. The state has no legitimate authority whatsoever to take those away from you. None. But you have to fight. As some of the other speakers said, you have to stand up and fight. But what we do is help you understand exactly what language you can use to fight. We give you powerful tools, powerful language to use in that fight. And understanding your rights is number one. On Wednesday, we were already here in Austin talking to marriage and family court. And before his hearing, there were criminal hearings. And if each one of these defendants would come up before the judge would very carefully and specifically tell him what his rights are and ask him or her what their rights were, if they understood those rights, if they discussed those rights with their attorney, and if they were prepared to waive those rights by signing this document, and that they were aware that signing the document waived their rights. And that's what we're saying these divorce court judges need to be doing. You will not today find a divorce court judge or very few divorce court attorneys who will tell you you have any constitutional rights at all. I asked when I got divorced. Every attorney I spoke to said I simply didn't have any. They're wrong, and we proved they're wrong. You have the First Amendment rights of family association. You have the right and the duty to educate your child. Well, I'm here to tell you that's a First Amendment free speech right and a free speech duty. And they can't take that right away any more than they can take your right away to speak here in public today. And if you know this, you can stop them from doing what they're doing. You have a Fourth Amendment right to your property. Child support is your property. They have to prove reasonableness in each case, Fourth Amendment, before they can take your property. And if they're stealing your time and using that to justify taking your property, that's clearly not reasonable. What most people don't know is your right to your child is also a First Amendment right. Your right to your money and spending money on your child is a First Amendment right. That comes from these political cases where they say that donating money to a candidate creates a relationship that's protected by the First Amendment. Well, guess what? Spending money on your child in support of your parent-child relationship is a First Amendment protected right. And the state saying you have to care for your child beyond the minimum that applies to married parents is a First Amendment right. That's your choice as a parent, how much more than the minimum you want to spend on your child. It's not the state's to tell you. Okay? And it violates equal protection and a whole lot of other things. All of these things come to us through the 14th Amendment. We talk about this in our book, and we give you very clear and precise language to help you do this. First of all, you need to know, getting divorced cannot take away your parental rights. Your rights as a parent are in no way tied to your marriage, none whatsoever. If you know this, you have the power to fight and you can stand up to these judges. I'm going to let Sherry speak a little bit here. She gets a little more personal than I do. I like to say, I'll guard you.
Even the Texas flag is trying to take us down. Well, first of all, I just wanted to say it really pisses me off that I have to come back here every year and talk about this when it's clear that every single one of you guys and your children have the right to be protected by these courts and these judges. You should not have to fear going in there when somebody threatens to interfere with those rights. So it really makes me angry, and it's hard to come back here every year and think that they're still ignoring all of you. I'm really happy to see that so many more people are showing up each year. We do need more people. And our earlier speaker, Mike Hendricks, he mentioned to us, and I want to tell all of you guys, because it was so, it's so true about how many parents can't even get out of bed to get here. So all of you are doing that for them. That's how important you are standing here today. So when these types of things happen to our people in our communities, I know a lot of you noticed, like in Orlando, we have a meme going around that we shared from somebody else saying, why is everyone getting so pissed off at these other things when there's just as much harm, damage, death, and killing going on with our children, our families, and everything else, that they don't seem to take the same interest, do they? Why is that? Well, a lot of that is because they don't believe that there's a problem, right? First of all, they don't believe that our judges would actually ignore our rights. They don't believe that an attorney actually would tell you to steal a child from another parent unless they've gone through it. But once you're going through it, it's almost impossible to convince them without them thinking there's just something wrong with you, right? And it's time, and I'm so glad to see signs like this one saying this is about equal parenting. This is not about angry parents. This is not about parents who just didn't get their way. And this is not about parents who don't care about their children and their families. So, like Ron had said, with our materials, the reason it's important is all of you that are out there fighting every day run into barriers, right? You go in, you talk to your lawyers, they tell you you don't have rights like they did to Ron, like they did to me. And you're so stressed out that it takes so much energy and so much time to try to figure this out yourself that it's kind of nice when you come up, well, we hope, that's kind of nice, that when you come across our stuff, you go, oh my God, that's exactly what I thought. And we proved it. We proved it for you guys. So when you come across this material, it just makes it easier for you. It makes it easier to educate our children, the grandparents, the next generations. So it's so important to understand that the movement is gaining more and more momentum because you guys are getting the arguments right now. You guys have understood now what the problem is. And the problem is not that the parents' divorce is causing the children to lose a parent. It's the divorce court judges. It's the attorneys who aren't updating their practices and learning these arguments on your behalf. So, I don't know how many of you are currently going through the process right now, but if you are, I just wanted to thank you so much for taking this time. I know a lot of you took the time off work to be here, right? I see one dad over there that, kids are that important, but what happens when you take that time off work? They're going to attack you over child support, aren't they? They're going to say, oh, you took time off work and you say you can't pay child support or you can't pay more money. Well, that's when you use some of these arguments, right? Instead of just cowering down because they beat you so much in a corner saying, don't you care about your kid? What's wrong with you? No, you say, I have a First Amendment right to support my child directly and to spend my money how I see fit, not to pay another person, a third party, mother or not, father or not, those are third parties, not to pay them to raise my child in a way that I may not agree with. So your equal time is important because the way you believe, your values, and things that you convey to your children mom or put on supervised visitation, what does that do to your interaction with those children? They know follow you around, put your shoes on their feet, pretend they're you, see how you cook breakfast in the morning, or even see your morning routine. Maybe you wake up, you're groggy in the morning, grumpy, and then they see you, whatever you do to pull out of that. They learn strength, they learn coping skills. So
we all know this in popular culture. If you listen to country music, you'll know right now there's a very popular country song that speaks just to this. It's about a child who's looking to his father and he says, "I want to be just like you, Daddy. I want to eat all my food and grow up strong, and I want to do all these things just like Daddy." But it's in our popular culture. We all know it. Your children learn from watching intimate daily actions every day, how you feed them, how you clothe them, how you bathe them, how you wake them up in the morning, how you get angry at certain things, how you don't get angry at certain things. Our children are sponges. They soak all this up. Those are First Amendment rights. For you to express all this to your child, and indirectly, it's a First Amendment right for your child. This is critically important. These are rights of your children. Your children have these rights to learn from you through daily interaction. That means you have to have equal time for your First Amendment rights to be equal. And the First Amendment rights do have to be equal.
that means you do not have to be a model parent. So all of these tests and examinations and evaluations they're doing with you guys, get out of them any way you are able to do that. That is just a fishing expedition. Now, of course, we don't know all your nuances, so if check with whoever you need to get legal advice, but we're not attorneys. But I haven't seen one yet that has been used with fit parents that was being used for the purpose of trying to find something on one of them so they could deprive one of them and their children of those equal time and rights together. So you pay for that.
And just to be aware, the Supreme Court has said that in no instance ever acceptable. There is no way you can get past the Fourth Amendment on those open-ended searches. Anytime they're doing family study, looking for anything to do with best interest, that is an open-ended, unconstitutional search. And you need to stand up and tell them no. And every parent we've talked to that's done that, the courts have backed off, of course, because the courts know this.
Now remember, if they've already ordered it and you go back in later and tell them no, they're probably going to try to put you in jail for fees owed to an amicus or a guardian ad litem, or they'll find some way to attack you. It's happened to many parents, so be really careful about how you're doing this when you're doing it. We're not saying don't do it, but be very strategic about it. Know what you're facing. Know that if they've already made an order, you can, try different techniques and tactics to try to get that order overturned. But just make sure you're keeping yourself protected and safe too, because it doesn't do anybody any good to have any of you guys in jail. Then you can lose your job and other means. You do need to have your job and your resources so that you can fight back. That's one of their strategies of let's make you guys all broke so you'll just shut up and go away and fight back, right? I'm so happy to see that that's not the case with you guys, but it is the case with people all over the United States. They're unable to fight back. They can't afford to fight back anymore. So we need to make it easier for them. We need to start teaching them these arguments from fixedfamilycourts.com. We need to start simplifying things for these attorneys. We need to know what we're asking our attorneys to do. We need to know what we're paying those attorneys to do, right? You don't just give them retainers and deposits anymore and just say, help me. Because they're going to help you in the way that is helping the process right now. It's helping the system. It's not helping you. It's not helping your children. It's feeding the machine. You've got to get out of that cycle, and the only ways that we know how right now is to use these arguments, stand by your arguments. How many people have you seen in history that stood by their arguments that didn't eventually win? What did we just see recently win? Same-sex marriage, right? And we're not asking any of you to agree or disagree on what your values or feelings are about it, but they didn't give in, did they? Were some of them beat and killed along the way over the generation? Yeah. Absolutely. Were some of them, beat down so bad that they thought they couldn't get out of bed the next day? Of course they were. And I just wanted to say that also we just wanted to say that we have been very touched by what happened in Orlando since I brought up this issue. And somebody posted today something about how the outpouring of support has been so touching to them. They were driving along the freeway in Orlando and they saw how many people we're still out there giving for the people in need. This is what we need to do for the people going through family courts. We need to see people out there helping them, standing by their side, going to court with them, and like we said, teaching them. I know that every time a parent has contacted us and we've gotten to work with them, that they have felt better. No matter what the results are, they at least felt like they were heard, like they had somebody there watching over them, like they had someone there helping them stay strong. I don't know if you guys know how important that is, but going through this alone is not a good thing. So if you know anybody that needs that help, please give it to them. If not, get in contact with these guys, Texans for Parental Equality. Get in contact with us at fixedfamilycourts.com, and we'll try to connect them up with somebody. But I wanted to kind of wrap this up with, we have some webinars coming up that is going to continue the education on how to continue to stand up to these abuses of power. So we hope that you guys will get into some of these and that you will share this knowledge and information. Repeat arguments. They are starting to take off. We see memes with them. We see things like children are entitled to equal time with both parents, things like that. That comes from these arguments about your rights, okay? So I hope I touched on everything, and I don't know if we have time for a couple of questions, but if anyone out there had something they wanted us to touch on or ask us.
Before we do that, I'd like to just wrap up a statement here, and then we can answer questions. I want everyone out here to realize that all fit parents share the same rights. It is not legitimate for them to deny you rights as a parent based on your marital status. That means if you are a single parent never married, they cannot deny you your rights. That means if you change your marital status to divorce, that is not a legitimate reason to change your legal rights as a parent. If you know this, you can be strong. If you understand where this comes from, you can be strong. Learn what your rights are, and you will be powerful. I'd like to do the legislation after this law has been passed in our country, got passed for the state registration for behind on child support. State court, state jail for behind on child support. Well, first of all, the statute that allows for child support is wildly unconstitutional. They do not apply the proper procedural due process to assign you with child support. When they do, it's a quasi-criminal process specifically because of statutes like that, where they say they can classify you in this way for any reason they want to. And that's literally what the statute says, to award child support. They can award child support at any time for any reason. And that's it. That gives these judges unlimited power. And at least one state appellate court here in Texas has said that the power of these judges in divorce courts is, their words, unlimited. Now, Sherry and I have filed a federal lawsuit in the Eastern District here in Texas, federal court, not state court, and we have challenged all of these statutes. The Attorney General is fully aware. The Attorney General tried to get it shut down. He was unable to. The Attorney General failed to respond to any of these constitutional issues on the merits. They did not put up even one challenge to any of these constitutional statements that we're making, not one. And the federal judge right now is determining what our rights are under the federal constitution and whether or not these statutes, including the child support statute, are in fact unconstitutional. We believe that this federal court judge will come back and say that these laws are unconstitutional, and then that statute you're referring to will be meaningless because they will not be able to award child support.
I have one additional comment on that question about the registration. I saw a post floating around that, I don't remember who posted it, but it had a bunch of cases that they were citing, stating that, something about the Supreme Court said that driving is a right of liberty or something like that. You got to be a little bit careful with how you're interpreting rights, because states can regulate rights. It's just that they have to follow proper procedure and due process. And I believe if they follow proper procedure and due process, that this regulation or this revocation of your registration of your vehicle would not meet constitutional muster. I believe that it would be found unconstitutional for them to take away your ability to earn a living.
And in fact, the U.S. Attorney General believes the same way we do. They released just recently in the last month or two a letter openly addressed to all the state courts and all the state's attorneys general about this and about whether or not they should be putting people in jail for a debt. And that's essentially what child support is. They try to say it's a duty, but the only duty they can impose is a minimum standard that's equally applicable to all parents. They cannot single out, under the Equal Protection Clause, any subclass of parents and impose a duty on them without proper due process. They cannot do it to you simply because you got divorced. It is as blatantly unconstitutional as it can be. And so all of these things they're doing, the Attorney General of this state knows is unconstitutional because the Attorney General of the United States has made it very clear to him that it's unconstitutional. He flat out doesn't care. And we're here to tell him he's going to have to care.
Anyone else have a quick question?